Tonight, a special edition of World News Tonight, the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Tonight, the gunman now identified what we know already. And did a local officer confront the gunman just moments before he started firing at former President Donald Trump? And tonight, here are the haunting images captured by a New York Times photographer, what appears to be a bullet flying past the former president's head. And President Biden addressing the nation just a short time ago. This evening, hear the investigation and the images now seen around the world, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. The gunman opening fire roughly 8.5 minutes after Trump took the stage in Butler, Pennsylvania. The bullet piercing his upper right ear. Trump's microphone picking up the screams of people yelling, "Get down." Inside the Secret Service response tonight, what the agents can be heard saying on Trump's microphone. And the chilling photographs showing what authorities believe is a bullet flying by the former president's head. Trump reaching for his ear, the blood visible on his hand. The gunman firing from a rooftop less than 200 yards away. And we're now learning about the 3 adult men shot in the crowd. One did not survive. A firefighter, husband, and father of 2 daughters killed. Tonight, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro describing him as a girl dad, a hero who jumped onto loved ones to protect them. Rachel Scott in Pennsylvania. Tonight, stunning new details about the suspected shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. A law enforcement officer telling ABC News a local police officer was on that roof and confronted the shooter seconds before he opened fire on Donald Trump. Reports the officer then fell, the shooter then turning back to open fire on the former president. Pierre Thomas standing by in Washington. Authorities tonight searching for a motive behind the attack, what they have found already. And what we're now learning about the gun, an AR-style rifle, who owned it. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky with what he's learned. The dramatic takedown of the gunman, Martha Radis reporting tonight. It is the first time a Secret Service sniper has taken out a would-be assassin. All of this coming on the eve of the Republican National Convention. Donald Trump saying he considered not going to Milwaukee today. Tonight, on his way. Jonathan Karl in Milwaukee for us. And President Biden addressing the nation tonight from the Oval Office, condemning the attempt on Donald Trump's life. The president tonight urging unity. A special edition of World News Tonight starts now.
From ABC News, this is a special edition of World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening on this Sunday night, and we begin tonight with the investigation as the nation now struggles to make sense of the horrific turn in this race for president, the attempted assassination of former President Trump at a political rally in Pennsylvania. Tonight, both President Biden and former President Trump calling for unity. Both men speaking on the phone last night. President Biden saying today it was brief but good. And President Biden speaking to the nation just a short time ago, calling for all Americans to condemn political violence in this country. The images, of course, now seared in our minds. The former president giving a speech. It was just 8.5 minutes in after walking onto that stage when the shots began. You could see him reach there for his right ear, looking at his hand, and then dropping down behind the podium, taking cover. Secret Service agents rushing in. A New York Times photographer capturing what authorities believe was the path of one of the bullets. The former president's ear hit. You could see the blood. It was clear. His life narrowly spared. The Secret Service, as you saw, rushing the stage. Trump was then lifted from the floor by agents with blood on his face and his fist in the air, mouthing, "Fight, fight, fight." His microphone picking up what the Secret Service agents were saying, and you'll hear it right here tonight. One asking, "Are we good?" Another saying, "Shoot her down. We're clear. Let's move." Authorities say the 20-year-old shooter fired an AR-style rifle and shot from a roof less than 200 yards away. And tonight, what we did not know, a law enforcement source now saying a local police officer reportedly confronted the shooter just seconds before he opened fire. That officer then reportedly falling, the shooter then turning back to open fire on the former president. Authorities believe this image shows the gunman lying on the roof. A Secret Service sniper nearby facing a split-second decision to take the gunman down. The gunman's bullets hitting 3 adult men in the crowd, killing one of them, a husband and father, Corey Compertor, a firefighter described by Pennsylvania's governor tonight as a girl dad. His family told the governor he died a hero, diving on top of the family to protect them from the gunfire. President Biden briefed in the Situation Room with his national security team today. We do have it all covered tonight, beginning with ABC's Rachel Scott, who was at the rally when the gunfire began. She's in Butler, Pennsylvania, again tonight.
Tonight, from the Oval Office, President Biden with a message for the nation.
I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. We resolve our differences at the battle box. You know, that's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets. The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people, not in the hands of a would-be assassin.
It comes as the FBI tries to make sense of how this could happen. A would-be assassin taking aim at former President Donald Trump, shooting him as he rallied thousands in Butler, Pennsylvania. It was roughly 8.5 minutes after Trump took the stage.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
You can hear several pops and see the former president grabbing his ear, ducking for cover behind the podium. Moments before, some in the audience spotting the gunman. This extraordinary image captured by New York Times photographer Doug Mills, appearing to show the path of a bullet as it whizzed by the former president. His life saved, perhaps by a simple turn of his head. In this next picture, Trump moving to touch his ear. And in a third, blood. In an instant, Secret Service agents rushing the stage, surrounding Trump, shielding him, taking him to the ground. Crowd screaming. Trump's own microphone picking up the frantic cries of the Secret Service. Shooter is down, shooter is down.
Are we good? Shooter's down. Are we good to move? We're clear. Let's move.
Agents carefully lifting the former president up.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
Blood on his face, Trump pumping his fists, shouting, "Fight, fight." Agents whisked the former president off the stage down the stairs to a waiting armored SUV. And the crowd screams in pandemonium as we duck for cover.
We're okay.
And in the stands, urgent calls for a doctor. Someone in the crowd had been shot. Moments later, a person being carried out. 2 people were injured. One man, 50-year-old Corey Compertor, was killed. Tonight, his family and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro paying tribute, saying he died a hero.
Corey was a girl dad. Corey was a firefighter. Corey went to church every Sunday. Corey loved his community. And most especially, Corey loved his family. Corey dove on his family to protect them last night at this rally.
Tonight, authorities believe the gunman armed with an AR-style weapon fired from this roof, a building just outside the security perimeter of the rally, about 400 feet from where Trump was speaking. You can see here a Secret Service sniper positioned on the red roof right by the stage when the shots rang out. That sniper taking aim, firing on the gunman, killing him. Authorities believe this image shows the gunman lying on the roof. Today, he was identified by the FBI as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Investigators trying to piece together details about his life. We know that he was a registered Republican. And according to FEC records, Thomas Crooks donated $15 to a progressive group in January of 2021. Authorities have not identified a possible motive. Today, President Biden with this plea.
I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job.
Biden and Trump speaking on the phone after the shooting. Last night in front of the country, Biden saying he had tried to call Trump. Later, they were able to connect. Biden today describing their conversation as short but good. And tonight, former President Trump with this message. In this moment, it is more important than ever that we stand united and show our true character as Americans, remaining strong and determined and not allowing evil to win.
So let's bring in Rachel Scott, who is still in Butler, Pennsylvania for us. Rachel, thank you for your reporting over these last 24 hours. And we know that Donald Trump is now on his way to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. And so many of the images that we have seen in the last 24 hours in this country and really seen across the world will now define this campaign for Donald Trump through November.
Absolutely, David. With just months to go until the election, we know the Trump campaign will be fueled by these images. The former president seen bloodied with his fist up in the air as he's rushed off of that stage into that armored SUV by Secret Service. Tonight, the Trump campaign says they are moving forward full steam ahead with plans to attend the Republican National Convention. And tonight, President Biden is vowing every resource of the Secret Service to ensure Donald Trump's safety. David.
Rachel Scott leading us off here again tonight. Rachel, thank you. We turn now to the fast-moving investigation and to new reporting here. Law enforcement telling ABC News that moments before the suspect fired shots at former President Trump, a local police officer says he confronted the gunman. There's some reporting that the officer actually got up on the roof where the gunman was. But then that officer fell when the suspect turned toward him and pointed his weapon at him. Authorities believe the shooter then turned back and started firing at the former president. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, now.
Tonight, a law enforcement source telling ABC News that a local police officer was on that roof and confronted the shooter seconds before he opened fire on the former president. The Butler County Sheriff telling us late today a police official told him that a Butler Township police officer was vaulted up to the roof where the shooter was perched, adding the suspect quickly turned and aimed his gun at the local officer, forcing him to retreat and fall down. Moments later, that suspect firing several shots toward Trump. Sources tell ABC News that a short time before the former president took to the podium, local authorities were alerted to suspicious activity on the outside of the perimeter and were in the process of looking for a suspect.
I am aware that law enforcement had responded to a number of reports of suspicious activity.
Ryan Knight attended the rally and saw the shooter open fire.
The guy beside me all of a sudden says, "This guy got a gun," and points. I look over at the AGR building, and there's a guy going prone, laying down on the AGR roof. At that point, I look over, the guy starts taking shots at the president.
And tonight, he's raising serious questions.
My main thought is why the Secret Service was not on top of that building.
Investigators are now trying to figure out how the suspect made it up to the roof. Here's the shooter located less than 400 feet from the podium. The shooter is outside of the security perimeter, which flows from the magnetometer tents, where the crowd came through as they were checked for weapons. The Secret Service snipers who were part of the team responsible for protecting former President Trump were perched at a number of elevated locations themselves. Photographs and video captured precisely where they were. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News the Secret Service sniper faced a harrowing split-second decision. Once the sniper noticed the suspect was on the rooftop, he had to determine whether the man posed a threat. And when the shots were fired, it became apparent, and the sniper opened fire, killing the suspect.
So let's bring in Pierre Thomas live with us from Washington. Pierre, I want to go back to that new reporting from you tonight. A law enforcement source saying a local police officer confronted the shooter on the roof moments before he opened fire on the former president. This would suggest tonight that authorities might have been just seconds away from possibly stopping this.
That's right, David. There was apparently a desperate attempt to stop the shooter before he got those shots off. But the critical question is, how was the shooter able to get on that roof in the first place unimpeded, David?
Pierre Thomas live in Washington. Pierre, thank you. And as you know, Pierre, we are learning more about the gunman tonight. His motive still unclear. Authorities do know he used an AR-style rifle that was owned by his father. Here's our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, also in Pennsylvania tonight.
Tonight, authorities are searching for a motive, piecing together a profile of the man they say tried to kill Donald Trump. 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, seen here in his yearbook photo in an American flag T-shirt. He's from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, just south of Pittsburgh. He worked at a nursing home. Records show Crooks had no military background. The ATF traced the AR-style rifle he used to try and kill Trump, and sources told ABC News it was purchased legally by his father in 2013. The bomb squad cordoned off his home in Bethel Park. Authorities searched his car at the scene in Butler and his home, telling ABC News they found what appeared to be rudimentary explosives in both locations, one source saying they look like grenades. CNN is reporting that Crooks' father told them he was trying to figure out what the hell is going on, but would wait until I talked to law enforcement before speaking about his son. Neighbors are stunned the alleged would-be assassin lived among them.
When we pulled up, said we couldn't get on the street, so I thought it was an accident. Then I find out something different, that the young man is the gentleman that shot at Mr. Trump. How sad for his parents.
I was stunned. I mean, where is America going to now?
You just never really know somebody at all anymore, and it's kind of shocking.
Crooks, seen here at his graduation ceremony in 2022. Fellow students say he was smart and a loner who was rejected by the rifle team, in part for being such a bad shot. It was considered dangerous.
He was always bullied every day. He was just an outcast. Like, you could look at him and you would be like, something's a little off.
Investigators are now trying to search his phone. They're looking for any misinformation he may have been consuming and whether that played any role. So far, though, they say they've uncovered no links to any extremist organizations. The FBI is confident tonight, David, that Crooks acted alone, but they still don't know why he acted at all. He was on no FBI radar, had no criminal record, and what they've seen so far of his digital history has offered no useful clues as to why he carried out this historic act of political violence. David?
Aaron Katersky in Pennsylvania for us. Aaron, thank you. We're going to turn to the dramatic takedown of that gunman. I want to bring in ABC's Martha Raddatz tonight because, Martha, you reported today that this is believed to be the first time a Secret Service sniper has taken out a would-be assassin.
Exactly, David. This is what they trained for, but a former agent told me this is the first time that a Secret Service sniper, or technician as they are called, has killed a would-be assassin. It is a split-second decision, as we've said, but as the agent noted to me, it is obvious that despite the history-making move and the difficulty of that split-second decision, the shot came too late. David?
Martha Raddatz with us tonight as well. Martha, thank you as always. Of course, all of this coming on the eve of the Republican National Convention that I mentioned earlier. So I want to bring in John Karl. He's live tonight from Milwaukee. John, the former president suggested today he actually considered delaying his travel to Milwaukee, but then said he didn't want a would-be assassin to get in the way of this convention or, quite frankly, his campaign moving forward.
And this does, David, feel like a campaign transformed, like a convention transformed, but the schedule is unchanged. He's traveling to Milwaukee as planned. In that statement, he said precisely that he considered delaying it for 2 days, but have just decided I cannot allow a shooter or potential assassin to force a change to scheduling or anything else. I can also tell you that the former president has been on the phone with convention organizers. One of the people involved with the planning here said the convention will continue with a vengeance. And David, you can be sure that those bloodied images of Donald Trump from Pennsylvania with his fist in the air will be the defining images of this convention and of the Trump 2024 campaign.
John Karl in Milwaukee will be joining you, John, the entire team. Thank you. And as I mentioned off the top, President Biden is set to address the nation tonight from the Oval Office, condemning the attempt on Donald Trump's life already. The president calling for unity. And here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
President Biden coming before cameras at the White House today, condemning the shocking attempt on Donald Trump's life, saying there is no place for this kind of violence in America.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen.
In the midst of this divisive presidential campaign, the president attempting to lower the temperature. Overnight racing back to the White House, Biden this morning briefed in the Situation Room by his Homeland Security team and law enforcement officials. The president now imploring the country to come together.
Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change. But we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans.
And David, we are now also hearing from Melania Trump for the first time, saying in a statement today, quote, "When I watched that violent bullet strike my husband, Donald, I realized my life and Barron's life were on the brink of devastating change," saying, "I'm grateful to the brave Secret Service agents and law enforcement officials who risked their lives to protect my husband." David.
All right, Mary Bruce with us live from the White House tonight. Mary, thank you. When we come back, the other news this Sunday night, that life-threatening heat moving into the Northeast and the potential for storms. And tonight here we remember a well-known actress. Tonight, more than 100 million Americans are under heat alerts. Dangerous heat moving into the Northeast. It'll feel like triple digits along the I-95 corridor, D.C., Philly, New York City, Boston. Tomorrow, record highs possible in the east. Severe weather on tap for parts of the Midwest, including Chicago. When we come back tonight, remembering an actress best known for her role in Beverly Hills 90210 after a very long battle. To the Index, and we learned today that actress Shannen Doherty has died. Best known for her roles on Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed, Doherty lost her battle with cancer after many years of fighting the disease. Surrounded by friends and family, including her beloved dog. Her 90210 co-star Jason Priestley tonight calling Doherty a force of nature. Doherty was just 53. When we come back here tonight, President Biden addressing the nation just a short time ago, calling for unity and for all Americans to send a message in a moment. Tonight, President Biden addressing the nation from the Oval Office. The president calling on every American to come together to not just condemn, but to put an end to political violence in this country. I'll see you from Milwaukee tomorrow night as we cover the Republican National Convention that, of course, starts tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.